Has my opinion changed? I don't know. Let's get into it.
Ron Tillman, real talk, it's the truth.
All right, so a lot of people have been bringing this back up to my attention. This was the case where the sergeant lost it on the guy in the backseat of the vehicle, was getting ready to pepper spray him, and then his officer comes and intervenes and stops him from doing so. He was just recently charged with battery on an officer. Some people want to know, was that the right thing or that was the wrong thing? Let's watch the video, and then I'll give you guys my opinion here in a second. Let's take a look at it.
Christopher Police arrives at the squad car. The suspect is handcuffed and in the vehicle.
Look at me, you want to play games? You ever get disrespectful with my officers, I will remove your soul from your body.
That is when another officer intervenes and tugs at the sergeant's belt, removing the superior officer from the situation. But the sergeant lunges for the female officer's neck, his hands eventually falling toward her shoulders.
Don't ever touch me again. Get the off.
The disturbing body camera footage led prosecutors in Florida to charge police last week with assault and battery on an officer. By the time
All right, so when this video initially came out, I said that I thought what the female did was right. My opinion hasn't changed. It hasn't changed just because as police officers, we have to be willing to allow our partners to intervene if they ever see us losing control. Now, there's going to be people that watch this video and they're going to automatically say that this sergeant is a bad guy. I can't say that this sergeant is a bad guy because I don't know anything about him. He could have done a phenomenal job. He could have had a phenomenal career. He could be a terrible sergeant. I don't know anything about him. But one thing I know for a fact is that every single police officer, whether you want to believe it or not, is a human being. And because we're human beings, we are liable to losing control of emotionally charged situation. It happens. And so that is not a justification for his actions in his video. We have to be held to a higher standard. We should be held to a higher standard. But I want you guys to realize is that officers will lose their cool because they get emotionally charged up. You got to realize we do a job where we're dealing with some bad people that cuss at us, they spit at us, all this other stuff. And so unfortunately, there are times where we get in our human skin and we lose it. But when we lose it as officers, we have to be willing to allow our partners to intervene if they ever see us start to do something that might be deemed excessive. They are trying to save not only yourself, but they're also trying to save your agency, and they're also trying to save their profession. And so I think what this female officer did was great because she was trying to help him. You can clearly see the sergeant lost control. You can clearly see it. It's not, and if you don't see that, then I don't know what you're looking at. The thing is that two things I want you to consider if you're the officer watching this is if you're ever going to intervene, make sure it is something that is appropriate to intervene on. What do I mean by that? If you're intervening on one of your partners that's trying to take a suspect into custody and you're not sure, why he's doing what he's doing, but you can see a suspect may have his hands buried in his waistband or whatever it may be, make sure that you know it's excessive before you intervene. Because let's just say a suspect is going for a gun and you don't know that, you automatically go intervene on that on your partner, and that person's able to pull a weapon out, and now he harms both of you. So this is not me giving excuses for the suspect or the sergeant or anything like that. This is just me saying that if and when you intervene, just make sure you are for certain that it's appropriate. But outside of that, it's not hard to detect whether or not something is ethical or not ethical. In a situation, if you see an officer, your partner utilizing excessive force, we have an obligation to intervene. We must intervene. It's going to help your partner out. And if you're that person that has lost your stuff, lost your cool, at the end of it, when it's all settled down, you should be thanking that person because they could have prevented you from doing much worse. And so my point is in saying all this is that I think the officer was right in intervening on preventing her sergeant from doing what could have been way worse things. And we shouldn't be mad that she intervened in this situation. We shouldn't be mad at that. We have to be glad that officers are thinking outside the box and saying, you know what, let me pull my partner away because they don't need to deal. And when you do pull that partner away, hey, just say, hey, I got it, partner. You go over here. We got this. We'll handle it. That's all we got to do. And if that happens, then if you're the officer that's starting to find yourself losing your cool, just step away for a second, get some air, and then deal with the situation once you've calmed down. We're held to a higher standard. We can't let our emotions get the best of us. But it happens, and when it does happen, we need to be willing to allow our partners to intervene to save us from what could be much worse. That's my opinion. I want to know what you guys have to think in the comment section below. If you guys like the videos I bring to you, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. With that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one.
Ron Tillman, real talk. It's the truth.